And quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with Taco Night on Mondays or Whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and in smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Wall-to-Wall Wine & Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled, high-end wine bar. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for wine, beer, spirits, and cigars. Wall-to-Wall Wine & Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Experience a cleaner tomorrow with Niederhaus Refuse. Whether it's weekly residential pickups, large-scale commercial disposals, recycling, or roll-off, Niederhaus's team is here with reliable, efficient service and the most advanced solutions. Discover the difference that a committed and experienced waste management company can make. Niederhaus Refuse has been in business for over 100 years and is family-owned and operated since 1921. Call Niederhaus Refuse at 402-475-8361 and visit their website at nbrefuselincoln.com to learn more or sign up for your service today.
Our lives only have so much time, but if you smoke, you have less. Your life could be 10 years shorter, and the time you do have is often filled with health problems. Shortness of breath, asthma, COPD, and cancer. But the minute you quit, your body starts healing.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
In today's digital landscape, the security of your business is non-negotiable. That's why you need better cybersecurity solutions. At Hamilton, we make it our business to protect your network, data, and digital assets with the latest in cybersecurity technology. Our dedicated team of experts has the technology in place to protect what matters most to you and your business. Stay ahead of cyber threats with better cybersecurity protection. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NEBCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
That it is. Welcome into On the Block on Monday. I'm Austin Norman in the studio. To my right on stream, the one, the only Husker Hall of Famer, 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland. Stricky, how's the travel? You settled? How you feeling, my friend?
Good. Got in here, no delays. It was good to catch up and see family and get together and have a cookout and so forth and so on. And so yeah, it's lovely, man. It's lovely. It's hot. Let's just be honest about it. It is that.
No delays.
What's going on back there, man? Y'all, you don't miss Stricky. I mean,
miss Stricky every day. You're not here.
Come on, you don't miss Stricky. You know, I see how y'all do me. Y'all kick me out the classroom. You know what I mean? But it's all good.
We didn't know if you wanted to tap in on the conversation. I thought I'd
Nah,
give you a
no, I'm
little
just
bit
messing
more
with
time.
you.
But hey, no delays. Did you travel under like a fake name or something? You always get
I
delays.
know, right? Yeah, it wasn't it was pretty simple and to the point. Got here, no problems. So let's just hope that is a continuation of the rest of the time that I'm here on my return, that I don't have no hiccups. So I'm hoping.
You have had more hiccups than anybody recently, so we will hope that
Man.
for you. We want to make sure we thank Nebco here for sponsoring the show. Nebco hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mix Concrete. Apply today. Start your career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. Nebco and Ready Mix Concrete offer great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they'll pay for your CDL training. If that interests you, you can visit nebcoinc.com or readymixedconcrete.com. Big thanks to Starter Heyman Jewelers for sponsoring our video streams and our text line at 402-464-5685, as well as Allo for channel 961. We'll take your comments, your thoughts on that all show long, really. We're with you till 4 weekdays here during On the Block. You see below us on stream as well our Twitter handles, at eStrick20 on Twitter, at Austin_Orman. Give us a follow, drop us a line there. We see it, we'll get to you throughout the show. First things first, Stricky, Nebraska's Week 2 opponent, Colorado, may or may not have some locker room issues going on. We know there's been plenty of drama in Boulder since Coach Prime Deion Sanders arrived up there. Some of it of his making, some of it, comes, from outside of the program, to be sure. Athlon put out a piece, I don't know if it was Friday or over the weekend, with some quotes from anonymous former players. One former player said it's like a real-life Grand Theft Auto video game. Many distractions with fights, guns, and money floating around. The environment is unlike any. One went into depth about what happened with Cormani McLean, 5-star recruit who left the program this offseason. One former player said Cormani was taking a lot of heat from everyone. At the same time, Coach Prime was saying he was in the doghouse and needed to improve. Cormani was getting bullied by Shiloh Sanders. After the Oregon State game, Shiloh slapped Cormani several times, which left him screaming, I'm going to kill you. After that, you could tell he wasn't mentally there. And there's a couple other stories as well of an offensive lineman, a recruit being made to fight a defensive lineman in practice to prove that he was tough, that sort of thing. If it's true, it's absolutely concerning on a number of levels. But Strick, we also know how many eyeballs that this program in Colorado brings, and this head coach specifically. What does your gut tell you? Are these claims legit, or do you think this is former players maybe playing up their experiences? They weren't happy at Colorado, so they're trying to bring that program down as they leave.
All right. So this take, you may understand it or you may not. And the reason I'm going to give maybe just a step outside of myself and just take into account history, past, how I was raised, how I was coached, so forth and so on. Okay. So it's probably not going to be a popular take, because I think in a lot of areas of our lives, Austin, we have shifted. We have shifted in the culture. We have shifted in the way some things that used to be taboo are now no longer the case, right? So this is where I come into my take. I look at it from how he was raised and how I was raised and how we were coached. I was talking to a couple of friends that we played youth football together. And, I told you, back when Napoleon Kaufman and us, we were all growing up, and Napoleon went on to have a great career. My cousin that I'm here visiting right now, Donald Lindsay, played at San Jose State and, played against some of the best out there in the West. And we were talking about how we were coached, how hard it was. Like how hard my father, who was one of my coaches back then, the slaps upside the head, balls thrown at you. It was intense, man. The face masks grabbed and pulled towards you, grabbed it underneath your shoulder pads and shaking, if you were not doing something that you were disciplined to do. Now, I'm not saying that it's right. I'm saying coaches like Don Nelson, those the likes of those type of coaches, some of those
Bobby
old
Knight.
school Lenny Wilkins, those old Bobby Knight, yeah, those old school ways. It just the changes of the culture may not be able to be handled today. But I say it made you tougher. It made you more resilient. It made you more steadfast. It made you not want to give up. So it did give you some things that you may not be happy about now in the way that people go about doing it. But that's the question I have. Has it created a softer culture, or just being that this culture and the way kids have been raised? Because now kids, let's be honest, you get in trouble and your parent has to deal with you in the way that they deal with you. You could get CPS and stuff called on you these days. Like, it used to be taboo to even think you was going to pick up a phone and call someone. and look, I'm going to be honest. I appreciated the discipline because it helped me to become better. Some can't take that. Some can't take the stuff that I've had to endure or dealt with by being coached, Austin. And this is where I think this is kind of coming into play. I think it's a little bit of bad culture, but then I think it's a little bit of not understanding the coach that you're dealing with and what it took him and what he went through and endured with coaches to become great. And you take it as slights, or you take it as a negative, and instead of turning that negative and make it a positive. So that's why I give that the take the way that I'm giving it, Austin.
Yeah, Jordan P. on our Starter Heyman text line again, 402-464-5685 says, and at the end of the day, you love some of those coaches and understood why they were hard on you because the real world is hard. And I get that, but there's a line, right? At what point is it shenanigans? At what point is it overboard? And at what point is it just your coaching style and you need to see the bigger picture? The thing is that there's no one answer. It's going to be different for every program, right? Some kids will probably come in, more mentally prepared for it, potentially because of their upbringing. Others will, not get that impression from their recruiting visit, want to be part of the hip, cool program with the former NFL player, head coach. And then they're in for a bit of an awakening that they didn't know was coming. And Jordan P. also says, you think, Nebraska locker rooms haven't been messy like this. Stricky, you've been in locker rooms. I'm sure you can say each of them are messy in their own way, but they're also different levels of messy, right? Punches being thrown just to prove you're tough, punches being thrown over gambling, slapping a teammate because you don't think he's tough enough. If it's true, and again, I don't want to say this is for sure true because, again, unnamed anonymous players, and I'm not saying if, they have to be on record for it to be true, but we just don't know because Colorado is an easy program to take shots at right now. I don't want to not believe them because if it's true, it's pretty horrifying and speaks volumes about what's going on. But also, if it's not true and everyone else is saying, no, this didn't really happen, or this was taken out of context, which obviously slapping and punching isn't something you can take out of context. My point is, it's easy to take shots at Colorado, and I just want to be sure that players leaving the program aren't throwing shots at Colorado for clout, essentially.
Yeah, and it could be some of that too. And that's the kind of generation we live in, a clickbait generation. Any buzz or any switch of the light or the microscope or the magnifying glass to turn it off of someone and turn it back onto you, or vice versa in the form of defense. You having to defend yourself in a public square and you turn it and make it an off. So there's different ways to go about it, just depending on where you are and what part that you're playing in this whole thing. But for me, I think it's now I'm going to be a little bit objective if it is true. I really do think that it can breed bad culture because it's breeding all the flash culture, the Louis, Birkin bag culture, the who's got the biggest bag, who's got the biggest sack. Well, you don't, let's see. Come on, let's get these hands up. It can breed that, like when it's not about the whole, the collective, the team, it becomes individualized. And I've always said, man, If I have 5 fingers, each of them individually can't do anything to you, Austin. They can give you a little, now listen, if I put my whole weight on it, right? Like in them doggone, in them slap competitions, now it's a whole different thing. But individually, if I come and hit you with each one individually, they do nothing to you. There's no power. There's nothing until you unite them. And so that's how it is in sports, man. Until you can become this, you really no power individually. Each one of these individually is nothing. And that's what I think could ultimately be their downfall, when you have people worried about the wrong things as opposed to worried about CU becoming champion or CU becoming great. It's how great I can become at CU. And then that sometimes can be a bad culture.
It's a distinct difference, right? Just a couple words difference, but the results of the change in attitude there speaks to everything. We'll definitely monitor that as we are just about a month away from Nebraska versus Colorado, week 2 of the season here in Lincoln. A team that Nebraska doesn't play this year, Michigan, last year's national champions. Seems like their head coach, Sharon Moore, is in trouble. Jim Harbaugh seems like he got out of Dodge, probably won't face repercussions unless he comes back to the college games. Is Sharon Moore's career, dead on arrival? Is it dead before takeoff? We'll talk about the notice of allegations the NCAA is drafting against Michigan and more when we get back to On the Block.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today. Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from a program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Experience a cleaner tomorrow with Nieder House Refuse. Whether it's weekly residential pickups, large-scale commercial disposals, recycling, or roll-off, Nieder House's team is here with reliable, efficient service and the most advanced solutions. Discover the difference that a committed and experienced waste management company can make. Nieder House Refuse has been in business for over 100 years and is family-owned and operated since 1921. Call Nieder House Refuse at 402-475-8361 and visit their website at nbrefuselincoln.com to learn more or sign up for your service today.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store. Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting lincolnteammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT, from cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation right now at appliedconnective.com.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. From Colorado, Boulder, Colorado specifically, to Ann Arbor, Michigan, where the Michigan Wolverines might be finally facing some trouble based on the alleged cheating that happened last year. Austin Norman, Eric Strickland with you talking about it here during On the Block. Report says that ESPN obtained a draft of the notice of allegations being prepared to send to Michigan. And at the heart of it, the current head coach of the Wolverines, Sharon Moore, one of 7 members from last year's program accused of violating NCAA rules. It says Moore could face a show cause penalty and possibly a suspension for, here's this, Stricky, allegedly deleting a thread of 52 text messages with former Michigan staffer Connor Stallions, right? This is what we were talking about the whole time, is that there's no way the offensive coordinator, the defensive coordinator, Jim Harbaugh, didn't know about this going on. Sharon Moore deletes the text messages. He thinks that's plausible deniability. Well, guess what? It's never really gone in this internet day and age. They find 52 text messages. And here's the other part. Sharon Moore listed as a potential repeat violator because he contacted a recruit during the COVID recruiting dead period back in the day. 1 strike's bad enough. 2 strikes might be worse. Not a great start to the Sharon Moore era for Michigan or, personally for Sharon Moore.
So here's the thing, right? We talked about this a long time ago. This isn't what's happening right now is nothing that we didn't foresee. And you can go back and check the records because On the Block, we be talking about it, right? It's about this moolah. It's about this money, right? We knew that they was not going to enforce, even though they had information, even though they could have, they were not going to enforce anything during last season's run because this was at stake. And look at what happened. This would not have happened, possibly, maybe, allegedly, if penalties and things, this could usurp, because guess what they were able to do? They were internally able to turn all of this information from a negative into a positive, basically taking a Kendrick Lamar approach. They not like us. We individual, the whole world is trying to come against us. We got to fight the big brother. They turned all of that into fodder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so we knew that this was actually going to come to a head at some point, right? We understood that this is why Harbaugh got his Eagles wings and sailed up out of there, because we knew this was going to come. There's more things that are still going to come out. This is text messages. There's probably going to be some other things associated with that him that we knew could be problematic for the Michigan Wolverine program. And here we are. It's really just the start of it. It's the tip of the iceberg. How this affects Big Ten. Where does this put now Michigan? Does this make space and room for Ohio State and maybe Oregon to really take the reins, what is it going to do to the Michigan State program? Because this is not a good look starting from the head down. Now, teams like Northwestern were able to overcome it. They were able to really fight. I mean, let's say what you will. They look like they had fight in them. We're going to see what's going to happen with Michigan. Is it going to be fight or flight from this point on?
What do you expect? Do you think Michigan's talented enough to overcome this distraction, or do you think that, hey, they dealt with it all last year, it's going to be worth it for them because they got their national championship, and any regression that they have this year that's natural coming off a national championship season will be viewed through the lens of, oh, the only reason Michigan ever won double-digit games was because they cheated. If they dropped down to 8 or 9, it's not going to be, oh, this is a normal rebuilding year. It's, oh, look, they can't cheat anymore.
Yeah, it's possible, but listen, when you've got the return of a running game from an Edwards coming back, and there's a little bit of stability there. Yeah, you're still trying to really hone in and whether the quarterback position is going to be a solid place for you. Do you believe it to be so?
I don't, not right now.
Right, and so there's going to be a heavy reliance, I believe, on the continuation of their power run game. Those can stabilize different situations if you can get it going. It's just as much as how the mental space you're able to keep all of these young going from wanting and feeling buyer's remorse and wanting to hightail it up out of Michigan. That's going to be your key thing that you're going to have to alleviate this year.
Well, defensive coordinator out the door to the NFL. You mentioned Harbaugh, right? Found his Eagles wings, flew out to San Diego to coach the Chargers. He gets a level 1 violation, accused of not cooperating with the investigation. Harbaugh denied the NCAA request to view relevant text messages and phone records from his personal cell phone. So there you go. There's that. And the draft of allegations says that, hey, if Jim Harbaugh ever wants to come back to college, he could face a show cause restriction, which is kind of a big deal for coaches. It's the scarlet letter on them that the NCAA is going to be checking in on your program a little bit more. There are, restrictions that come with that for sure. 3 other staffers, Chris Partridge, Denard Robinson, and Connor Stallions, also accused of committing level 1 violations. And Strick, Michigan's program, just as a whole, faces a level 1 violation, according to the draft. It has shown a pattern of non-compliance within the football program and has undergone institutional efforts to hinder or thwart the NCAA's investigation. Which leads me then to this question. I think Gino on the text line answers it pretty well. But the question is, would Sharon Moore have been the coach if they thought they were going to get away with this? Or was Sharon Moore elevated to be the fall guy? Was Sharon Moore, since he was there, say, hey, we'll give you the job, but if something comes down, we know and you're attached to this. You can be the coach as long as this stuff doesn't come out, as long as it takes. Do you think Sharon Moore was elevated as a fall guy? Do you think they didn't do an external search because they didn't want the next coach taking any of this on? What do you think about this from Sharon Moore's perspective?
Listen, if we here on the block in the middle of the country in Lincoln, Nebraska, can discern, can infer, or can come to a conclusion that something's about to go down here at Michigan, when it happens, we don't know, but just know that it's going to happen. Like it's going to be a point that this is going to happen. You can't bring in if we can read the tea leaves, any high level, high profile, top tier coach is going to be looking at the tea leaves also. Like, you don't even have to get in your Clio ball. You don't even have to do that. You can just sit back and just understand and look at what has transpired and come to a conclusion that this is going to happen. And that's where we are. I believe that they probably retained Sharon. One, I think the whole run without Harbaugh was all part of the testing ground, just to see how he can manage it, how he can manage adversity, what he could do. Could he get buy-in from the players? He was able to do that. They were able to win. They were able to pull through and get it done. So now it's going to be basically his task to try to minimize this as much as possible. You see, he tried to do that by getting rid of the text messages. This is no pie in the sky idea. This is just look at the tea leaves. This is where now he's got to face a lot of this. You don't have to pay big dollars for it. You could pay the man to basically be your PR guy and a guy who can maintain your program. You get through this, and then they'll probably hire somebody else because it'll probably be too much stain on Sharon, and then they'll probably need to hire somebody else. But this is just to get through, period, I think. And I could be wrong, but this is what I think.
No, I'm completely with you. I mentioned Gino's text again on the Sartor Heyman text line at 402-464-5685. They were setting more up from the beginning by naming him coach. He will ultimately be the fall guy for Harbaugh. That's the way this is trending, but I think Michigan has legit cover for it because Sharon Moore's a good coach, right? He didn't get there by accident. He grinded his way up the ranks, done a great job with the Michigan offensive line over the last handful of years. And like you said, he passed his trial run excellently, right? Won the games without Harbaugh there, which is why I think this is even more unfortunate that he not only got caught up in this, but apparently after the leak of the draft Strick was actively involved in it, because I think Sharon Moore's a good coach who probably didn't need this, to further his career. He took the risk that it wouldn't get found out. Well, guess what? Here it is. And now his coaching career is probably going to be stunted because let's say that, Michigan says, oh, well, now we're going to get high and mighty. Yeah, we can't stand for cheating. They probably fire Sharon Moore, not just suspend him. Or to your point, what I think is maybe more likely is that Michigan can say, hey, we have a national championship in the not too recent past. Sharon Moore, we elevated you to head coach. You've gotten us to the playoff as an 11 seed once, and you missed the playoff a couple other times. That's not upholding the standard of success we want. So after 2 or 3 years and some of these penalties wear off, then Michigan can say, hey, we can go, deep sea fishing for a coach. We are a big fish in this pond. We can, make a career-defining offer to a coach. I don't think Michigan fires him now. I think Michigan rides it out with him until it's convenient for them to fire him. And I think Sharon Moore, the coach, deserves better. But the cheating completely, I think, is going to end up costing him this opportunity here in a couple of years.
Just put an attachment. Go up to the top, say edit, and attach. Yeah, just attach that to what I just said, and we got a complete document, and you got all the information you need right there. I think we're in agreement, my friend. I think we're in the same place.
One other text on the text line from Aaron: just give Michigan the SMU death penalty. I don't know, Strick.
Will we ever see that again, Austin? Like real talk, I don't know if we ever see that. I think it's just too big. I think we'll see heavy penalties. I just don't ever think we'll see death penalties again. I could be wrong. Now with NIL and stuff now, but what you think?
That's just the thing, is that Baylor, I think, was pretty close right before Matt Rule got there under Art Briles, with the way everything completely went off the rails there in all sorts of bad directions. SMU's death penalty back in the day is essentially legal now. And I get it. At the time, it wasn't legal. And according to the rules that everyone should have been operating under, SMU was breaking those rules and was cheating. And it was probably deserved, given the magnitude to which they were doing this. Now, viewing it from our current lens, you could just say SMU is ahead of the game. But I don't think that's the fair standard to judge them by. But to be honest, Strick, it's always been assumed that there's some sort of gamesmanship. There's always someone looking to get an edge, get an advantage over somebody else in the profession, right? You're always looking for those little advantages that'll add up.
Yeah.
But what Michigan did was, go against kind of that. I mean, obviously it's written down, it's in the rules. You can't do what they did, but it's also sort of the gentleman's code of honor, the thieves code, where we all know we're probably, crossing into the gray area, stepping over the line a little bit. But what Michigan did was above and beyond anything that anyone else has done. So yeah, SMU paying players was really bad at the time, to the degree to which they did it. But now that's becoming okay, and I think for good reason, because the players deserve a cut of that. What Michigan did has never been acceptable, ever. So I would almost argue that there's a better, in the spirit of fair competition, I would almost say what Michigan did was worse than what SMU did.
I can't really disagree with you. I think it is. It's very egregious in the landscape of what college football or college sports are as a whole. It's just it's very you really can't even back it up. It's nasty work. You know what I mean? Is it more though than the guys that were flying? At what level do you compare it to the guys on the soccer team that were flying the drones for the women's soccer?
The same. It's the same.
It's pretty much the same, right?
I would say.
So yeah, so if it's agreed, the issue is like this level of cheat. Like, okay, where do you put Brady's deflate gate and all that on what level you put that on there?
Tom Brady is the worst cheater ever to walk this planet hand in hand with Bill Belichick. So that's where I put it.
There you go. 402-464-5685.
Right.
Talk to
you
me.
used the wrong example. Spygate. Remember?
Yeah.
One of the previous Super Bowl, the deflate gate was
the one before.
Whatever. You didn't put some air in the footballs. It 45-7, right? Scoreboard speaks for itself. But Brady and the Patriots stole the other team's film ahead of a Super Bowl, right? You're not supposed to do that. You can't do that. So I think they were, pioneers, and that was Spygate back in the day.
It's crazy because I remembered part of our game plan was leaked to the other team. Like we had found like some papers. I can't remember what team we was on, but I remember it was either after shoot around or it was somewhere where we found like papers and it had like all of our stuff on it. And we're like, where did this come from? Because we we hadn't even gotten there yet. We're like, how did they got our game plan? Like that's how weird it was. But I don't know, man. It is a major advantage. I don't care what anybody says. It's a major advantage when you either know people's signal. Think about that in baseball, right? From second base. Like you're there and somebody's able to just give you a heads up so you're staying back on a change up or you're staying back on a breaking ball, as opposed to knowing that a fastball is about to chin check you or be up. You can just sit there and wait on that and smoke it. Man, I think it's shady business, man, and I don't like it, to be honest. But is this where the future is going to be? That's the question. Is this the future of sports? Is it going to just get nastier and nastier? Are they going to start sending SR? I think there's an SR-72 now. Are they going to start sending SR-72s over stadiums? Like we're going to contract the SR-72 and just go over the stadium, get us all the Spygate information we need. Just 2 flybys.
You know what it does? It sets UCF and Houston up for success. They can launch from Kennedy and Canaveral, get their rockets up there in space, and point a super high-powered telescope down at practice for a couple hours. Stay in orbit and whatnot. So I think watch out for Houston and UCF. If that becomes the next step of college athletics.
Right. Crazy work, but it is part of the work that's crazy. If that
makes Stricky, sense. You're not the only champ from Omaha now, right? Your boy Bud Crawford did it again. Want to talk about that for hour one?
Yes, sir.
Bud Crawford wins. We'll talk about that to wrap up hour one of On the Block next.
Right now at Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down. And I mean everything. Top tier equipment? Check. 24-hour access? You bet. Free fitness training? Always. Workouts in the free PF app? What'd I tell you? Even super friendly team members.
Hey, welcome to Planet Fitness.
Oh, hey. I was just mentioning you.
Hey.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th. See Home Club for details.
Everyone should have a collection of something. For some, it's stamps or coins, expensive cars, or even watches. But for a lot of people, it's sports cards. And there's no better way to grow your collection than with the help of Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's first and only collector-first sports cards and memorabilia shop. Capital City Sports Cards connects collectors of all ages and demographics with unique collectibles sure to bring any collection to life, no matter the budget. Visit Capital City Sports Cards near 56th and Old Cheney or through their eBay storefront. Capital City Sports Cards, Lincoln's premier sports card and memorabilia store.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT. From cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation right now at appliedconnective.com.
All right, it's time for Final Jeopardy. It's been a tight contest today that all comes down to this final question. No summer picnic or family get-together or trip to the lake is complete without this particular item. Let's go first to Bob.
What is beer?
No, that's not it. Think about the kids. Over to you, Farley.
What is corn on the cob?
Tough to grill that on a boat. Wrong again. Grace, this time for the win.
What is Bure's cheese spread?
We have a winner! Bure's cheese spread, available in most local grocers in Nebraska.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl, Jordan, with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Let's talk commitment. And what better way to do that than with some shiny, sparkly jewelry? Am I right? Now, I'm not suggesting you have to rush, but if you're considering making a significant move, do your planning. We offer financing and payment plans. Lock down your selection with confidence. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Austin Norman, Eric Strickland back with you here during On the Block, brought to you by Nebco. Check them out at nebcoinc.com. Stricky, your boy, my boy, our boy, Omaha's boy, Nebraska's boy. I don't know who else's boy. Plenty of other people's boy. Home dog. Terrence Crawford, 41-0. But it took him going the distance. What do you make of him having to go all 12 rounds with Madrimov? He got the win. It wasn't easy. Your reaction to that fight?
Well, in watching the fight, I could tell that there was apprehension for Israel to throw and really just let loose in his hands. He was very measured on how he was doing that. I think he understood the speed of Bud and also that he's a counterpuncher. So that was a little bit tough for him to try to figure out the rhythm. I think it was a good balanced fight. Israel landed some good punches. So did Bud in some retaliation. There were moments on both sides. I will say that overall, it looked like till late in the rounds, it could have went either way. And I think you saw that by a couple of the judges. A couple of judges was 115, 113, I think, 116, 13. So it was at a point, I think, until late in the later rounds, that's where it looked like Bud was able to take control. There was a couple of good moments there because really none of them were just landing major shots or anything that would be difficult to handle. But Bud also, it looked like he just wanted to feel it. Mm-hmm. The power, the size, the pace, not to overwhelm. So it looked like he was just in a feeler fight, like trying to really test the waters to see how he can navigate in this new space. I mean, you're talking 2-3 weight classes of a jump. That's not, easy, because as Jamal Charlo, or one of the Charlo brothers that tried to get in there with Canelo, and you could tell he was like, wait, there's some different heat coming back at me. Like the chicken that you guys be eating, that hot stuff. Yeah, that's some different type of heat. No. I think this was good. Now I think the discussions, he's got another belt at this I think super lightweight and category, and now it looks like he can start looking at the big money with Canelo, having those discussions. He might need one more. I said I think he should have one defense of the title at that weight. That'll give him a little bit more. Go for the big one, and then if you were able to land that deal, maybe you get not a repeat, but after the clause that you have in it, where you may lose, but you rematch clause. Yeah, if whoever. So you're looking at 2 big money potential deals, depending on how well the fight goes, if it's close or whatever the case may be. And then you may be going to great good night. I think Canelo's the big money he's looking for to send him into the great good night. There's really no one else really left to fight. I don't think he'd want to fight Gervonta. I think that's that weight class issue. I don't think that would mean much. I don't think Shakur Stevens or any of them coming and meeting at catch weights or anything like that. I don't think it made sense. Obviously, the one that went away was with Errol Spence. That didn't happen, and it don't look like it's going to happen. So he should turn his eyes probably to Canelo.
I'm with you on that. To your point about just how close the fight was, even till late, 116, 112, 115, 113, and 115, 113 were the final scorecards. But 2 of the scorecards had Crawford behind entering the final round. So he had to make up ground. He landed about 10% less of his punches overall than Madrimov did. Crawford threw about 150 more punches, but connected 10% less of the time. And this is interesting here, Strick. I'll give my thoughts and I want yours. 8893 says, do you think Crawford might have got paid more for taking it the distance, for taking it all 12 rounds? I don't think so. I don't think either guy ever looked comfortable. Neither guy, like last segment, neither guy had the other guy's game plan, right? They're both kind of counterpunchers. They were both feeling each other out all fight long. So, it snaps Bud's 11-fight knockout streak. I don't know how comfortable either one of them was as unfamiliar opponents. I think they were both just trying to, as Jay would say, get in where you fit in, get the punches where you could, but neither one dominated. There's a reason the fight was as close as it was.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what I saw too. No one wanted to step out there and leave something unaccounted for and have a hook coming back at you. You know what I mean? So they were very cautious on a lot of the shots that they threw. I'm glad it wasn't a tie-up session, but it was just a feeler. It was a lot of feelers, man. It wasn't straight, it wasn't Bud's style. And I understand why though. I mean, you go up there and play in that domain if you want to, and just think that it's all hunky dory and it's fresh and fit. And I'm not talking about the podcast. You think it's all good and mess around and get caught slipping and go to your great good night and go to the upper room.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Let's turn the page. Congrats to Bud Crawford. We'll keep it in Nebraska next segment. Husker football had its open practice. We'll give you who was out with the first team on offense and a few of the defensive guys, which young guys were interesting, and QB1. We might be getting even closer to an answer. We'll talk about Husker football, Strick and myself for the first segment. Then Brian Munson of Husker Online joins. He'll talk recruiting and his takeaways from practice as well. This is On the Block on 93.7. The Ticket brought to you by Nebco. More after this. Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for Ready Mixed Concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
The weather is hot, the kids are out of school, and you're on your way to the lake and summer road trips. Are you getting to your vacation spot comfortably, or is your car letting you down? Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No tag-ons, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Where will your path take you, traveler? To seek fortune in a new career? Or on a journey to distant lands for a well-deserved vacation? Wherever you go, one distraction could spell disaster. You can change your fate, adventurer. Don't drive distracted. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Hey guys, it's Bill Bush. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty has opened a new location in Pender, Nebraska, in addition to their office in Lincoln. The real estate world can be confusing, so why wouldn't you want an expert helping you every step of the way? If you're looking to buy or sell farmland in Nebraska, Kansas, or Iowa, give Ethan Sorensen a call today at 402-380-0432 or visit them online at nextagrealestate.com. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty with locations in Lincoln and now Pender, Nebraska.
All right, it's time for Final Jeopardy. It's been a tight contest today that all comes down to this final question. No summer picnic or family get-together or trip to the lake is complete without this particular item. Let's go first to Bob.
What is beer?
No, that's not it. Think about the kids. Over to you, Farley.
What is corn on the cob?
Tough to grill that on a boat. Wrong again. Grace, this time for the win.
What is Bureau's cheese spread?
We have a winner! Bureau's cheese spread, available in most local grocers in Nebraska.
Experience a cleaner tomorrow with Nieder House Refuse. Whether it's weekly residential pickups, large-scale commercial disposals, recycling, or roll-off, Nieder House's team is here with reliable, efficient service and the most advanced solutions. Discover the difference that a committed and experienced waste management company can make. Nieder House Refuse has been in business for over 100 years and is family-owned and operated since 1921. Call Nieder House Refuse at 402-475-8361 and visit their website at nbrefuselincoln.com to learn more or sign up for your service today.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Nebraska State Veterans Homes are here to serve veterans, their spouses, surviving spouses, and Gold Star parents. Join your fellow veterans and their families at one of our homes in Bellevue, Kearney, Norfolk, or Scottsbluff. With a sliding scale to determine your financial contribution, an excellent clinical team, and plenty of fun activities, our homes are the perfect retirement choice. Learn more at veterans.nebraska.gov/homes. Sponsored by the Nebraska Department of Veterans Affairs, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodmen of America, touching lives, securing futures.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Presented by NIPCO. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
The time is here. The time is now. Fall camp for Husker football has now arrived. It's starting to jump off. It is happening right now. And check this out. What's exciting about it is we have a little bit of info for you. We're going to tell you a little bit about who was on the first drive and the first offense when they made that drive. Who is some of the people on defense, so that you can kind of start watching to see how this all plays out. And we'll also kind of maybe ask the question, who are the young fellas that are starting to make their transition into positions, starters maybe, or even just looking like they're going to have a lot of time? That's what we're going to be looking at. We're going to be talking about. We're going to dig right into that right now with my partner and my friend, the resident analyst, our own Austin Orman. What do you think, Austin, about fall camp? Who took the field with that first team with Dylan Raiola? Who were the receivers? Who was those individuals that was able to grace the turf with the new look Huskers and hopefully the transformation Huskers and getting into the win columns of going back to bowl games? What did you find?
Well, I found that Nebco, Sarter, Heyman, and Alla were great and fantastic, and we love and appreciate them here on the block. You also gave the game away, right? Dylan Raiola came out and took the first team reps at quarterback, which I think is a big deal. I don't think this was just fan service. I think this is legit. By all accounts, Dylan Raiola leads the quarterback competition, looked really good yesterday, again, according to all reports, looked calm, poised, in command, in control of the offense, did some good things on the field as well. And I think that's a big deal. And I'll circle back to him in just a sec here, Strick. First running back, Emmett Johnson, with Ramir Johnson and Gabe Irvin subbing in. No Dante Dowdell with the first team. That's a little interesting, something to monitor. That's a guy that I think you and I both think could play a role for this team, but we're 4 weeks away from games and he's not getting reps with the first team. Something to monitor. Wide receivers, I don't think there's any shocker here, Strick. Jamal Banks seems like he's a favorite target for Dylan Raiola. Isaiah Nayor with that height and that speed also there. And then Janiron Bonner, who had made the move to fullback, kind of that hybrid H-back position, was one of the starting wide receivers. Jalen Lloyd did not start. He had a rest day. He's been dealing with a little nagging something that the coaches don't seem too concerned about. So they held him out for just precautionary reasons. Ja'Cory Barney is the guy we'll circle back to here in just a little bit as well. That's a young freshman out of Miami that turned some heads at the spring game, subbed in with the first team as well. But the offensive line, Strick, I think is worthy of a little bit of conversation as well. We figured that Ben Scott would be there at center right after last year. He's still there. Bryce Benhart was better last year. He was there at first team right tackle. Matt Rule in his press conference before the open practice said he's been really impressed with Micah Mazuka. He said he had some stuff to clean up, some standards to live up to when he first got to campus. But Matt Rule said multiple times Micah Mazuka is having a good camp, which I think about locks him into starting right guard, which is exactly what you hoped out of him. Matt Rule said Justin Evans is a starter for this team. He got some reps at guard last year. I think he can play center as well in a pinch like he's done before. Matt Rule called him a starter, so you pencil him in at left guard until further notice. And then the interesting one to me was Turner Corcoran getting the first team snaps at left tackle instead of Teddy Prohaska. This is one that you and I have talked about quite a bit. And of course, Turner Corcoran, you might have heard, was taken out of practice. He suffered a minor injury of some sort. Coaches didn't seem too concerned about it, but he didn't finish the practice. But Strick, I said it, you said it, other people on the text line have said it. It kind of feels like it's now or never for Turner Corcoran. With that size, with his pedigree, maybe this is the year for Turner Corcoran that he has his Bryce Benhart year where he's maligned by the fan base. He doesn't live up to promise and expectation. And then he finally puts it all together late in his career. So from left to right, Corcoran, Evans, Scott, Mazuka, and Benhart. I don't know if that's the best offensive line in the Big Ten, but Strick, I do think that's a top half of the conference. You could even talk me into a top third of the conference offensive line that I think would go a long way for the running game and even the pass game.
Yeah, I mean, it to me, it just seems stable. It doesn't seem like it's a wowing type of offensive line, one that you're just like, oh my gosh, this is going to be, just a prime year to dominate up front this year. It's not that. But you can just say it's solid. I think it's solid. And that's really all you can ask for. You just ask for not making mistakes, being able to pick up blitzes when you need to pick them up, knowing what your assignment is. Don't be giving up gaps when you're supposed to close them. Just look solid. You don't have to do anything. I don't need you blowing guys off. I would love you to blow guys off 4 yards downfield. I would love that. But pause. But off the ball. Anyway, you would hope that can happen in the trenches, right? But at the same time, you just want to be solid. If you can get 2-3 with a butt shield, meaning, you're able to kind of, when I do that, you're able to turn your defender just enough to give an angle to run off or to cut off, or a hole that you can run through, pause, with the running back. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm hoping that this line is able to do. Just be solid. Just give Dylan Raiola enough time. Just give him enough time just to be able to get throws off, to make the right throws, to make the right reads, and be able to make the right play. If we can just do that, I would be happy with that. And I think they'll win some games.
I feel you. A couple things from the text line here. Raider fan says he feels like this year we have about 7 offensive linemen that you would give about a B grade to. Feels like Nebraska could sustain through an injury or two without feeling like you're downgrading on the line. Another guy that Matt Rule mentioned was held out of practice was Henry Lutovsky. Been dealing with a nagging injury in the summer, and that's persisted into fall camp. So Rule seems to be high on him and is, hopeful that he'll be back here in a few weeks. But then you look at the second offensive line, Teddy Prohaska at left tackle, Jason Mashashak at left guard, Sam Sledge at second team center, Tyler Canuck at right guard, and then Gunnar Gatula, especially the right side of that line, Strick. I mean, Canuck, a guy that came from Utah, pretty good pedigree as well, second year in the program. I think he can be a depth player. Sledge and Gatula, we've heard good things about going back really a couple years now. And even Teddy Prohaska at left tackle, I'm on record, not the biggest fan of him out there. He's been fine. He's been serviceable enough. But if he's your second team guy, there's not really much of a drop-off between him and Corcoran. He can at least get on the field and not kill you. So I'm with that. I feel you, Raider fan, when you talk about the depth of the offensive line. But Strick, let's have the Dylan Raiola conversation. We know what we saw during the spring game. You saw it. I saw it. He looked the best. We haven't heard any negative reports. It seems like people have had good things to say about him throughout the summer, that he's making progress. He's getting more comfortable. And I think last Saturday night, it would have been, he proved that, he's at least in the lead right now. Probably doesn't have the job completely locked up, but is at least in the lead for QB1 against UTEP. Strick, let's say that, this continues. Dylan Raiola is the starter for Nebraska. Should the Huskers, ease Dylan Raiola into the starting job? Should they focus on running the ball? Or should Nebraska say, hey, we have this weapon. He's not just good for a Nebraska quarterback. We think he can be, good for college football, like nationally good. We're going to let it rip from the get-go. How do you think Nebraska should approach Dylan Raiola as QB1?
There's a way for him to be able to shine. Again, I think I think you want to give it to him definitely situationally, meaning you want to allow him to have situations where he can take shots and it's not a crazy risk to the team. This is why you want to have an establishment of something. Who are you? We've talked about one thing with Nebraska is their identity. What is their identity this year? What is it? What are we going to see for them? And whether it be on the defensive side, I mean, there's things when you speak about Iowa, there's one thing you're not going to speak about for sure, and that's offense. You're not. Yeah. When you think about Iowa, you're like special teams, defense. They have an identity. You look at teams like Penn State. I think where they've lost their way is you really don't have an identity for Penn State no more. It used to be some things you can rely on with Penn State. You look at Ohio State, they're going to have great receivers, and usually their defense is going to be swarm and get after you, attack style. Like you can identify certain teams and what they're. This year's, I think, is Nebraska's for you to grab an identity, or to have a balance, or to have some form of where you kind of can rely when you come into a game. You're like, oh yeah, we can count on this. But if we get these, we're going to be a problem for whoever it is that steps in Memorial Stadium or whatever stadium we step into. And so this is where you're hoping that they can identify this pretty quickly with the games that they're going to have at home, and not anything crazy. Just go and handle business, but handle it with an idea that we're becoming who we're going to be for this year.
I'm with you on that. Last week, Strick, we had the conversation about go-to guys. Games on the line, you need one play made. Who does Nebraska go to? When I talk about, does Nebraska let Dylan Raiola let it rip from day one? I'm talking about it's third and 5 against UTEP. You're up, 20-17 with like 5.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. If Nebraska trusts Dylan Raiola, they trust him to throw the ball. They let him throw the ball. They don't, try to set up for a, 4th and 2 and see if you have another play. I'm not talking about going all air raid, run 5 out the whole time. That's not what I'm getting at when I say, does Nebraska let Dylan Raiola let it rip? And they're not cocky with him. But if Dylan Raiola is who Nebraska thinks he is, I want to see Nebraska back that up by using the guy for what you went and got him for. If you think he's your answer at quarterback, if he's your quarterback of the future, you think he can take you to these heights and these places, let him prove it. How many times last year, Strick, in these 3-point losses, the 7-point loss, these one-possession games that we've seen at Nebraska over the last 5 years, does it feel like one of two things? Number one, there's not enough weapons around a quarterback, to trust the quarterback to make the throw, or B, there has been no trust in the quarterback to make a throw, so Nebraska's got to play it safe, right? You have to run the ball on 3rd and 5. You feel like you have to run the ball because you don't trust your quarterback not to make a bad throw. You don't trust your offensive line to make a block, whatever it is. When I say I want Nebraska to let Dylan Raiola let it rip if he's QB1, I'm not saying he has to throw it 50 times a game. I'm saying if he's the player you think he is, the ball is in his hands at the end of the game to make the key play. That's what I think we need to see from Nebraska if Dylan Raiola is as advertised.
Yeah. You just want you want to get to a space of trust. I like how they're handling him right now. They're not necessarily putting out a whole bunch of information with him. They're not doing something to make sure the eyes of every writer or pundit is overly focused. I like how they're spreading it out, and they're not giving you just a heavy dose of quarterback, because they've done that before. They've done that with Adrian and others, where they put just a heavy dose of pressure on a quarterback that they didn't necessarily have to do. So I'm hoping that they don't do that. I'm hoping that they continue to just moderate his growth, his success, and not necessarily blow anything out of proportion to where he becomes the focal point of a whole bunch of issues, whether it's to the good or to the bad. I want it to just be a good balance. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of if they've ever done that. I'm trying to think if I can remember how they handled Tommy. I can't remember exactly, but I'm hoping that they really just do a good job of just moderating him and not necessarily over hyping or overwhelming him with news coverage.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that. A couple other things to get to here then, Strick. A couple guys that didn't practice. Princeville Uman Mielen, a guy that you've been pretty high on, is taking a step forward. He's got a knee bruise. Tommy Hill out for load management. We mentioned Jalen Lloyd. And then Tristan Alvano, Bly Hill, Barrett Lee, and Trip Michael Booker as well. But some other young guys, along with Dylan Raiola, Strick. Ja'Cory Barney, we saw in the spring game, had a monster game. He wasn't with the starters, but he was in there and making an impact in the spring game, and also subbed in with the ones pretty early on. Keelan Smith, legacy for Nebraska, flashed his size, right? Made a couple nifty catches as well. Carter Nelson was up with the second string, catching passes from Heinrich Harburg primarily. And I think that goes hand in hand with what I'm saying about let it rip. Let the young guys rip. If the guys that you've had on campus can't make plays, let the new guys go make plays. If they were offensive linemen, I'd say, get them in the weight room. Maybe they could help you this year, but I'd rather not overwhelm them and ruin their confidence, get them steamrolled when they're not ready. Skill position guys, Strick, Nebraska needs a spark. If the quarterbacks are comfortable with these guys and they're quick enough, they're fast enough, they have an athletic ability to make a difference, Dylan Raiola isn't the only guy I think Nebraska should let go cook on the field. Get Ja'Cory Barney out there as a freshman if he's ready to go. If you need a red zone target, throw Keelan Smith out there as a big body, let him post someone up. I'm done caring about whether guys are upperclassmen or not. If they can make a difference on the field, get them out there and use them how they can be used.
Well, I think that's what they started to do last year. They came to a realization is that we're gonna play these young guys, and I think it's gonna benefit them more in the long term than what they think. Getting those guys seasoned, and getting their feet wet and helping them to get acclimated to everything that's happening, spur some confidence, so forth and so on. So yeah, I'm hoping that it's just a continuation of. That's really the program that you're going to have to be until Nebraska and the university or 1890 is willing to up the ante, up the bar, because you're going to have to be a development from the ground up type of guy. It's going to be tough for you to continuously win in the transfer portal because the market's going to be set, and sometimes it's going to be high bars. So you can win, but you're going to have to do it from a developmental standpoint. You want to hope guys probably have multiple years still left. They have a willingness to want to they love the style that you're going to play, and they have a willingness to want to buy into it. And you get them here, you get them on campus and get them excited about their future and their prospects for what they can do, and then release them out there to get the job done. That's the thing that they're going to have to do until that monetary system gets to a level to where they're able to, spread that out and get top tier talent. It's not going to be that for a while, so you're going to have to develop, and that's where you're going to have to throw guys to the wolves and let them eat.
8893 has a good question. We will do some research over break, and maybe in the crossover we'll answer that. When we get back, Brian Munson of Husker Online is our guest. Husker football recruiting, making some moves potentially with a 5-star athlete. Brian's reaction to Dylan Raiola as potential QB1, and a blast from the past. Bubba Starling is a name I did not expect to pop up. Kind of want to play some hypotheticals with Brian Munson. Again, of Husker Online, he'll join us next year during On the Block.
If the week's been too hectic to even think about dinner, or your family can't handle one more night of leftovers, then it's time to let Hog Wild do the cooking. Hog Wild's family packs are one heck of a good deal for a complete barbecue meal loaded with all the smoked meats, tasty sides, buns, and sauces you need to feed your family. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies. It'll be breezy, hot, and humid with the high around 101. Tonight, mostly clear skies with a low around 69. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies. It'll be breezy and cooler. An afternoon high around 84. Meteorologist Kyle Becker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
To the pursuit of justice for those that have been injured.
My name is Eric Hagan, attorney with Liberty Law Group. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, call 877-42-LIBERTY. Our detail-oriented trial attorneys are committed to the highest quality legal representation. At Liberty Law Group, we will fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Once again, that's 877-42-LIBERTY.
The weather is hot, the kids are out of school, and you're on your way to the lake and summer road trips. Are you getting to your vacation spot comfortably, or is your car letting you down? Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Hi, it's Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and maybe the biggest savings in the Midwest are happening right now at Koppel. When you buy a new GMC or Chevrolet anywhere else, you might be paying too much. But right now, we're going to give you over $10,000 off list or 1.9% APR on select new Chevrolets or GMCs. So please give us a shot before you buy anywhere else. Please stop in the dealership or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. Must trade and finance with approved credit.
Why are some people more successful? Is it talent and determination, or did they recognize an opportunity? Discover a career that lets you help families reach their financial goals as you build lasting professional relationships. One with unlimited income potential. From Modern Woodman, a leading fraternal financial services provider.
I'm Modern Woodman Regional Director Sean Erickson. Call me at 402-483-6515 to learn about career opportunities.
Modern Woodman of America. Touching lives, securing futures.
Ready to score big with your projects? Look no further than Edward Stone, the MVP of natural stone for over 2 decades. Edward Stone is cranking out over 30,000 square feet every week and offers a winning lineup of over 70 quality natural veneer stone selections. Their unbeatable variety and experienced team will ensure your project is a success, whether it's a home renovation or a commercial build. And hey, they're not just about stone. They've got an all-star lineup of fireplaces, cast stone, brick, and much more. Swing by one of their locations in Lincoln or Omaha today and experience the Edward Stone difference, your reliable choice for over 20 years.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It is On the Block with Strick and Austin. It is also a Monday at 3:30, which means we go to our VIP line brought to you by Allo Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. We welcome in Brian Munson of Husker Online. Brian, it is heating up here in Lincoln. Are you staying cool at all? Is it still hot down there in Texas? How are you guys climate-wise?
I think it was 103 on Saturday. It was 98 only on Sunday. I think it's 94 today.
Wow, it's like practically winter down there right now. Cooling off.
It is. I was literally breaking out the flannel. Yeah, as you called, I noticed that we didn't break 95 yet, and I said, well, I need to put my jeans on and grab my slippers and get the hot chocolate going.
It's how you know football's in the air, right? It's finally cooling down.
Yeah, and my youngest son, they started their football practices today. So football is definitely in, and actually UNK opened up their fall camp today too. So both kiddos are back at it as of today.
Wow. That's how you know we are getting close to football. Brian, let's dive into last Saturday night, I should say, with Nebraska first here real quick. Dylan Raiola, right? Seems like he's taking more and more steps to be quarterback one. Seems like he's in the lead for that competition. Strick and I were talking about this, and I kind of want your thoughts on it as well. If Dylan Raiola is QB1, are you of the mind that, Nebraska should ease him into the role, focus on the run game, and kind of ease him in so, by the time you get to midseason, he's more comfortable, and then you let him rip? Or is Dylan Raiola a good enough player, good enough prospect, and does Nebraska have enough around him that from the jump against UTEP, they can throw him into the fire and say, we trust you to be good, let it rip?
Well, I mean, obviously you want to be balanced no matter what. And you don't want to act like you're breaking in a new quarterback. And I think that that's going to be one of the things that Matt Rule and his staff have got to be definitely aware of. When you go out there, you may be a little vanilla, a little conservative, trying to just make sure you understand what it's like to play in front of 80,000 people. But I think that those mittens stay on for about a half, honestly, guys. I think after that, it's a big boy game. I mean, you're playing in arguably, one of the top two conferences in the country. You're playing, for the Cornhuskers in front of 80, 90,000 fans. And I think that, you were a 5-star quarterback for a reason. You've been kind of bred almost into basically being able to take your show from Beaufort, Georgia on the road to Nebraska and live inside the ultimate fishbowl, which is playing quarterback for the Cornhuskers. He's handled it like a dude so far. Let's be honest. I mean, and I think that that's going to follow him to, basically not having to keep the reins on him very long in the season. I think Nebraska is going to be one of those teams that's going to be fairly unpredictable anyway, because of all the various new faces and what they can possibly do with their team speed, and the defense should be very consistent from where it was at from a year ago. But I think that, as time is going to roll on here and you do get to a little bit more of a comfortable level, I think Raiola can really lead all of the energy around Nebraska. I think that quarterback position and what kind of plays they're able to generate to the playmakers outside. I mean, let's be honest. We're talking about Nayor and Banks and Fedoni and, and other dudes like Coleman and Lloyd that, there's a lot of speed, a lot of talent, a lot of size at those positions. And I don't think that they had those types of weapons a year ago. And obviously I think it takes a little bit of the pressure off, him. And honestly, I think the stable of running backs, it sounds like, if we're talking about Johnson, being the starting quarterback and, you still have, and when I say Johnson, Emmett, not Ramir, and, you still have Gabe and you still have Dowdle back there, and Ives for that matter. Nice little, stable of running backs too. It's about as good of a setup as they've had in Lincoln in quite a while. So I don't think that things are going to be very vanilla, take it easy on the kid for too long. They need him to make some big boy decisions. They got a big time opponent coming, early part of September. Dion and the Buffaloes will be there, and all the recruits, every single one of them I talked to from junior day are all eyeing that weekend as a possible visit weekend. You cannot bring, your top 2026 guys into Lincoln and not be basically running at a high level. I mean, that's essentially what I'm thinking about right now. So I think they're going to have to get to it right away.
Let me switch the question a little bit, or at least the framing a little bit. I'm not saying Nebraska's going to go air raid if Dylan Raiola is that guy, but Brian, we know the one-score losses over the last 5, 6, 7, however many years you want to go back. When I say, let Dylan let it rip, to me it comes down to, does Nebraska trust him in the biggest moments early? So recently we've seen either the quarterbacks at Nebraska not have, separators at the skill positions so they can get the ball to in those situations, or they don't trust the quarterback enough to get it to those guys. Do you feel like Nebraska has the guys at all those positions to, when it's 3rd and 5, maybe if the running back's the best guy for that situation, run the ball. But if the best play is, Dylan Raiola, find an open man, Do you think that Nebraska will trust him enough early on to let it rip on a crucial third or fourth down? Or do you think we see more of the same, safe, conservative Nebraska?
No, I think it's going to be more of the first part, more of the first scenario. I don't think that they're going to make a play call in that down and distance that they haven't seen, success from Raiola in practice in more of a live type of scaling playing against, obviously other Huskers on the defensive side of the football, either scout or some sort of, skelly type of situation. They're going to call a play that they have seen him be successful before, and that they know that they can kind of dig into that bag and say, he's comfortable doing this. And we should be able to go to this to pick up, a third and short or third and intermediate and be able to get that one. And even if he doesn't, we know that he's capable of doing it. And it's going to be either it's going to be a completion and get the first down and maybe more, or it's going to be incomplete, but we don't believe that from a ball management, perspective that this is going to be, put into a bad spot where it's going to be an interception. I think that type of play call is going to show up on the sheet. And that's going to be something that's going to be in the coach's back pocket. What are the go-tos for this down and distance, this down and distance, this down and distance based on these types of different various field positions? I think those are going to be some of the plays. They're going to want to have 3, 4, 5 in each one of those kind of categories there dialed up that they know that Dylan can execute.
We're talking with Brian Munson of Husker Online here on 93.7 The Ticket. Couple 5 stars have been in town recently. Brian, David Sanders Jr. we talked about, and then Michael Terry, the athlete, also on campus recently. Who do you think Nebraska has a better shot at convincing to come to Lincoln?
Oh, I said before, I thought it was Sanders, and then I've kind of soured on that one lately. I'm so sorry to tell everybody that one.
Hey, we need the truth. Give it to us straight.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I think I was under the impression, I think several of us were, that, it was really kind of more of a Nebraska-Tennessee picture, after the visits that he was deciding to take during the dead period recently. And that's what we were all led to believe. I mean, we've all heard that. And even the national guys reported that it looked like this was coming down to, Rocky Top or Lincoln. And it just doesn't seem like, to me, there's been a huge follow-up with him where you feel like Nebraska could overcome the lack of overall visits, the lack of overall connection, I think, with the staff based on that, on just not having a chance really to kind of recruit him the way that they would have wanted to if they were in the picture earlier and sooner and had him on campus a few more times. So I think you start weighing the factor of distance here. I think you start weighing the factor of where he's been a few more times, and that comes into play now. Now, with Terry, I think it's a little bit more interesting. Now, you don't like the fact that obviously UT is just 100 miles up the road from him in San Antonio. I mean, that's one of the biggest things Nebraska is going to have to find a way to kind of get over. But I think that, Nebraska has got really kind of an interesting take with how they want to use him, offensively. And I think Oregon's been talking about more of a kind of seeing him as like a flex style hybrid tight end, which might make some sense because they just lost their tight end commitment to Tennessee. And maybe they're trying to figure out how things would work if they could get another guy like him, in the class. But I think Nebraska sees, Terry just doing huge things. I mean, like I said, I've used the comparison before. I'm not shy about it. I mean, he looks a lot like a young Deebo Samuel. He is a very, very tough, very multi-layered kind of guy that can have impacts for you, in the Wildcat, running various places, being a ball carrier. He can do so much for you on that side of the football. I think that just takes all this tremendous pressure, off of guys and off of positions when you've got injuries in a room and you want to throw a guy over there to kind of help balance things out. Terry could do that for you. Terry could absolutely be that kind of guy that could help you balance things very, very quickly. He's got his hand on the scale when it comes to the offensive rooms, and he could make things, really, really fun to watch and really fun to kind of plan for if you were like on the Nebraska offensive staff. So I think he's like a Debo Samuel kind of guy. Again, you don't want to be against Sarkisian, particularly when a guy's inside the state of Texas. When Strick knows this, when guys grow up in Texas and one of the in-state schools wants them, they're tough. They're hard to get away. They're hard to get out of the state. So I kind of feel like, the chances still might be the best with Terry, but I think ultimately he ends up a Longhorn. And Sanders, I'm a little bit confused on, kind of thinking more and more it's going to be Tennessee. I think Nebraska's running in that third place or so with him. But, it's, and I think obviously Will Hawthorne too is probably set to make an announcement here in a week or so. I don't think things are trending in a very good way with him. I think things are trending in a good way, like with Isaiah Mosey. And then, Christian Jones is going to make a decision here in about 5 weeks or so. And that's an interesting one to kind of keep an eye on too, especially if Nebraska misses out on Hawthorne. It really kind of it makes a shift there about like what other linebackers could Nebraska potentially add to the class.
Let's bring it to a year out from now, Brian, 2026's recruiting class. Dezefin Walker, running back, you wrote about for Husker Online. Definitely recommend people check it out. What's the skinny on Dezefin Walker?
I think Nebraska's in a great spot with Walker. I think that Nebraska has clearly got him targeted. He's from Raymore Peculiar High School in Missouri. Played with oh gosh, I just had his name on the tip of my tongue. I just saw his picture. Jaden Doss just played high school football with Jaden Doss, so they've known each other for a very long time. I think Nebraska really likes him, and his speed is a little bit misleading. Like if you go out there and you find his track times, I think that like he was like an 11 flat guy, which I couldn't run a 40 in 11 seconds. Let's be honest, but I mean, in terms of like, but in terms of like, guys at that position, you're looking for those 10, 6, 10, 7, and if you can get them faster than that, then great. But Walker's going to be like an 11 flat track guy, but you put him on film and there's not a lot of dudes that can beat him to the edge. He is incredibly quick. So he has a different kind of game speed, film speed that doesn't really like maybe translate, all that well to track. It definitely lights up. It lights up though when you put on his huddle and you can see it right away. He's a difference maker. So 5'10", 180-ish, he's been in Nebraska 2-3 times. He's talking about coming back again for the Colorado game. And I think that that's one of the things I was just actually talking about what I was going to do my 3 and out on, on Wednesday, is that the Colorado evening recruiting experience is going to be huge. Nebraska just wrapped up, their summer with the elite junior day, that last weekend in July. Mostly all of those 2026s all said they were coming back for Colorado. How huge is that Nebraska can get back, those guys that are incredibly critical to the success of the 2026 group, basically twice in 6 or 7 weeks. That's a huge thing for Nebraska. I mean, they're really establishing something with that group, whether they're in state or right there in the radius, and I think that's huge. And Walker's absolutely a big part of that feeling that I have when it comes to Nebraska and what they're doing for the 2026 class.
Another guy you wrote about for 26 in the defensive backfield, J.J. Dunnigan Jr. What do we need to know about him?
Wanted to meet Coach Butler. Obviously the change has impacted him. Wanted to kind of see what he was all about. He's done the right research. He knows that he's a guy that's been at the professional level. He's been at the collegiate level. He's worked with all pro guys, and we went around and round about it because I was like, oh yeah, I'm a Bills fan. So I know exactly who you're talking about. and Dunnigan, really wanted to see like where Nebraska felt like he could play, and they do feel him playing as a cornerback. I think that was music to his ears. He is a Manhattan, Kansas guy, so obviously the Wildcats will be, definitely trying to do their best. I think Nebraska was really a thorn in the side of the Jayhawks and the Wildcats for the 2025 class, getting guys out of Kansas and getting guys away that I feel like, Kansas, in Kansas State feel like they should get. Whether you're talking about like I'd say Jackson Carpenter was a guy that number one Kansas had very high on their board, or a Pedshock, K-State felt like they had a really good shot at him. I think for Nebraska to go into like a Manhattan and really kind of, stake a claim on a guy like Dunnigan would be huge. But I think he's one of the guys that talked to me about coming back for the Colorado game. So I think he's a really long corner. He's got some really nice interest out there for him already, and Nebraska's in a really good spot for him.
Last thing then, Brian, your colleague at Husker Online, Sean Callahan, posted a picture today, a throwback picture of Bubba Starling, right from that same area down at Gardner-Edgerton. And this is just, worlds colliding as a Royals fan myself. I haven't thought about Bubba Starling in years. So to see this picture pop up, what do you remember about the Bubba Starling recruitment for Nebraska, and what could he have been at Nebraska had he seen that commitment through instead of going to play minor league baseball?
I remember, man, it's such a mixed bag of emotions because Bubba was not the guy that he was probably the first like regional player that I had like the most difficulty trying to get on the phone. He was not that kid. He was not the kind of guy that was going to answer the phone. He was not the kind of guy that was going to return your phone call. I imagine he was extremely busy, but I had to work his network basically to get updates on him. And everybody just absolutely gushed about how great of a kid he was. And it was just, there was this kind of, it wasn't really like an opinion like, oh, well, if he's so great, like, why doesn't he get on the phone with me? It wasn't anything like that. It was just like, the great ones that I remember talking to, like personally, they were the ones that I was on the phone with, like Dawson Merritt. He will go down with me as one of the greatest interviews that I will ever take place or ever conducted. And there's several other guys like that. Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow will go down on that list too, of guys that I've talked to before in the past. It'll just be like some of the most memorable people. If Bubba would have had that opportunity, I think with me to do that, it would have really like changed this conflicting thought I've always had about him, kind of looking back at it all. But tons of potential, tons of what could have been. I know that he kind of played it all out very late into the process to kind of secure a better signing deal with the Royals. It really soured on a lot of people. That's what I kind of remember about all that. But an immensely talented individual that just didn't work out for, and maybe we shouldn't be surprised if he shows back up again some other day, wearing a collegiate uniform, but maybe not playing the quarterback position.
Because he would have been competing with like late Taylor Martinez and early Tommy Armstrong, correct?
I think that's about the right timing. Well, Tommy was, I just watched the Capital One game, and then that was the end basically of Martinez's career, the beginning of Tom. Yeah. I think that's about right. Yeah, I think that does sound right. Yeah, that's probably about the right group of it. I mean, tough group to crack, right? I mean, that's Tommy took it by storm. If you guys can remember, I mean, by the time that Martinez and his ankle had kind of been done and stuff like that, Tommy was really on a high note, like going into the Capital One, the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Was it the Gator Bowl?
Yeah, Gator Bowl that year. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, he was riding high. I mean, and really had shown some stuff that, as a true freshman, he was really, really doing some fantastic stuff. I mean, that would have been a tough one to crack right there. So it kind of depends on whether you look at the decision to go pro and play MLB and not making it versus maybe going to Nebraska and getting jumped by another true freshman by the time it was your turn to kind of take it over.
Awesome. Brian, appreciate your insight as always. We'll keep monitoring the countdown to fall camp. Hope to have you back on next week and preview what could be in store for Nebraska in the season.
Sounds good, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Brian joined us on our VIP line brought to you by Aloe Fiber, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. One segment to go here during On the Block, brought to you by Nebco. We cross it over with Old School to wrap up the show right after this. Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Plains Cover Crop is your one-stop seed shop. Call us now for spring and summer forages, CRP mixes, and fall cover crop blends. We do farm-specific consulting for practical and efficient seed blends to fit your geography and goals. With a very diverse inventory, we will tailor a blend just for you. We're also looking for contract growers, and we buy and sell rye. Find us online at plainscovercrop.com. Timeless agronomy practices paired with modern technology. East Highway 20 in Orchard and across Nebraska.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
Liberty Law Group is committed to the pursuit of justice for those that have been injured. My name is Eric Hagan, attorney with Liberty Law Group. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, call 877-42-LIBERTY. Our detail-oriented trial attorneys are committed to the highest quality legal representation. At Liberty Law Group, we will fight for you. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Once again, that's 877-42-LIBERTY.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait. Apply now.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker concrete, and Beatrice concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com.
Your sprinklers are watering the street or flooding your backyard. If you're on a list that doesn't exist, it's time for Judson Irrigation. At Judson Irrigation, Lee or Lacey or Judson will make an appointment. You pick the time and they'll be there to fix your sprinkler system. Now that's service, a dying art these days.
Keep summer green. Call Judson Irrigation 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Do you have gently used books just waiting to be given new life in the hands of new readers? Linked to Literacy can help. We're gathering books for our second annual Wordstock event at Antelope Park on August 24th. It's a community-wide book swap where people can shop for free books and enjoy fun activities. From now until August 19th, you can drop off your book donations at several locations throughout Lincoln. So gather up books for both kids and adults and find a collection site near you at linktoliteracy.org. Then plan to join the fun on August 24th.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
So we're back one final time here during On the Block. Get Jake Sorensen out of here.
Yeah, man, he coming there talking about two-toe Tim Bowens, man. He ruined a lot of New Year's and Christmas for me.
Dang.
Big Daddy Tim Bowens. He was big. He was good. He was good, man. Defensive tackle. I think he's from Ole Miss.
Oh.
I think he was. He was the truth, though.
Tim Bowens, you said?
Number 95, I think, for the Dolphins.
In 95? That's right.
Yeah.
From
Ole Miss?
Yes, Ole Miss.
There you go. Because that was back when Ole Miss didn't.
Historian.
That's when Ole Miss didn't have anybody on defense. They must have gave Tim Bowens a house, car, and a monthly check to get him. Because man, he was. They had him and this dude Daryl Gardner. They had Jason Taylor on one end, and then they had Trace Armstrong, who at that point in time was a pass rush specialist, and then they had Tim Bowens, and they had another guy, David Bowens, who was up with me in Buffalo for a while, and then he ended up playing. I think I played 9, he played 9 or 10. He was a phenomenal athlete. Was at Michigan, got in a little I call it hieroglyphics trouble back then. There wouldn't be no big deal now. And then he had to go down to a smaller school, Miami. Listen, I won't name the teammate. And unfortunately, obviously, I knew this even before 9/11. Some guys used to get scared when we play against the Dolphins because that defense there was no weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
But when 9/11 hit, we were supposed to play the Dolphins that next Sunday, and before the NFL took not a long time, but they had to work through stuff before they said, we're gonna cancel the games this weekend and then pick up the next week. We were supposed to play the Dolphins that week.
Oh,
walk in the locker room after we had we had a hard practice. It was actually hot in Buffalo, and heard him say, "Woof. Ain't too bad that we missed this week." There's Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas. I looked at this dude, and I was like, man, I want to go punch you in your face. Are you serious?
Dolphins week.
That's what you want.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, scared money don't make money.
Never has, never
At the
will.
professional level, there are guys that blink twice.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Even at that level.
Oh yeah. There's this, and that's, look, nobody's perfect. I'm not fashioning myself as the best linebacker of all time. I can fashion myself as that I exhausted everything I had.
Competitor.
Mm-hmm. I would never back down. And the best compliment I ever got from not the best, but one of the best that I always remember, so that I guess it's one of the best, was the running back coach and Edrin came over after a game, and they just shook my hand. He's like, you know what? We've been watching you on tape, and we respect you because you always bring it. And that's really what you play for. Now, when
Edge went to the U, so that's a double compliment.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still mad at him though. He don't care because Edge don't got a care in the world.
No,
but,
should he?
Yeah. You know what's funny? I was down in Miami with a teammate his name is Daryl Porter, and so actually his son goes to the U, Daryl Porter Jr.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he went to I think West Virginia first, and he transferred back there. Actually, Surtain and him were the two corners. Patrick Surtain, yeah.
Okay.
So I was with Daryl Porter. He's like, hey, come down and hang out in Miami. He got to stay with him, and he had like a little sports bar. So we were kicking it with Patrick Surtain Sr. and me and Daryl Porter, and I had another teammate of mine, and we went to some club or whatever, and Edrin was in there. It took everything that I had after, especially because I was on the hydration situation, not to go over and say something. Now, I was still with Buffalo then. And so, and it was in the offseason. I was like, either Buffalo's got to bring me back my fourth year or pay me, extend me. So I knew I was only going to be there 1 year. And I was like, nah, he's too good.
You're on his turf. You're already an enemy.
Yeah, he had Bryant McKinney with him and everything.
Ooh, yeah, nah.
Yeah, it wouldn't have worked out well for me.
Good decision, Jay.
Yeah.
Young
And
Jay,
you know that
good
Bryant
decision.
McKinney knocked out Shannon Briggs. Cold.
No kidding?
Oh, yeah. One hitter quitter. Yeah, not that night, but like shortly afterwards. Here's the other better story. My cousin that I roll with it is the complete opposite of me. I'll say that.
Okay.
Right? Trust
He
me.
would have said something, Edge.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, no. But my cousin, he ain't no punk.
Okay.
Like, he ain't back, like, straight up, like, he's about that life in every fashion. Shannon Briggs was there that night, and he was trying to pick up on Daryl Porter's girlfriend, now wife, mother of his kids. And Daryl is he says he's 5'11", he's 5'9.5", but he hits you though. But he a little dude.
Mm-hmm. Bob Sanders.
Yeah, not even that big, but he just was at no fear. And Shannon Briggs is a big old dude.
Yeah.
So he tried to punk Daryl, and my cousin was in this. We were in this kind of like Mercedes, like take you around or whatever. My cousin was sitting there. He opens the door. He's like, "Do we got a problem?" Right? The best part is he has like a drink in his hand. He's like, "Do we got a problem here?" Right? And then Shannon Briggs starts getting loud. My cousin was like, "Do we got a problem? You're talking loud, but do we have a problem here?" Right? And so, like, you can't really tell like how big my cousin is or whatever until he
stands up.
Well, because he's sitting in the chair. You like, he got out of the car and he started walking to him. He's like, "What's up? Do we have a problem here?" Right? He's like, "I don't think you want this," or something, like, because he was like, "Hey, this is Northside Minneapolis." I was like, "Oh my God!" So for me and Daryl, we looked at each other, and that was back when we did have our Nextel phones. We got in the van afterwards. We joke, and I said, "Man, what were you gonna do?" He's like, "Man, I had my phone. I was gonna hit somebody upside the head." I told him too. I said, "Listen, I have my Nextel gonna go right on somebody's head, and I'll be down the street. They were gonna catch me, man." Oh man, it was some. That's probably only good at the time it got a little too wild.
Not bad if that's as wild as it got. All things considered.
But my cousin is a legend now.
About that.
Yeah.
One football question for you. Strick and I were going over this before we get to old school. Dylan Raiola seems like he impressed at the open scrimmage on Saturday. Seems like he has a leg up for QB1. You've seen young quarterbacks in college and in the NFL, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is Dylan Raiola the type of young quarterback that you think Nebraska will need to lean on the run game early and ease him into the schedule and the actual game action? Or is he the type of prospect, is he the type of player that Nebraska says, "Hey, we got this guy for a reason. In the biggest moments, we're not going to play it safe. We went and got this guy. We're going to put the ball in his hands in defining moments"?
That's a good question. I think, I can answer that. I think Matt Rule and those in the staff, they want to be able to lean on the run game anyways. Mm-hmm. You've seen it in some form or fashion. Last year, that's how they would like to start in close games, right? Be able to, dominate the line of scrimmage or be effective and have the conventional run game be effective. So I think they would do that anyways. I think if Dylan progresses and continues to show in different, moments or different times and showing the ability to continue to improve and do the little things that lead to big things, I think, assuming just naturally as a coach, you'd feel okay with him making a decision. I think, I know him, I know his temperament. I know what it's like to grow up. He grew up in an NFL locker room. I grew up around NFL players, former NFL players. Like Jim Marshall, Alan Page, all those dudes, right? So I wasn't, but I was a ball boy. So that was my in the locker room type of thing. The one thing that you get advantage of doing that is decision making and the next level thinking at a very young age. I was, with Daryl Fullington and Joey Browner were the safeties for the Vikings, and I was had to work that section of the ball boy. And I'd be over there giving them water and all this, but they were talking about China routes. They were talking about a route called Bang 8 or whatever, which is essentially a skinny post, which is a killer. Michael Irvin made millions off of it, money off it. So what that means for him, his dad was a center, right? So the line checks and all that, he's getting. It's like somebody that parents is a billionaire. You're getting like an education that Nebraska can't give you because you're getting the next level. You're going right to the expert level.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's close with Matt Stafford. He's close with Patrick Mahomes. So the decision making and maybe the people that can mentor him would help him probably through some lean times or be able to rise up to the moment, because the temperament and to be able to like not get fixated on all the glitz and glamour, I think it will help him, make a good transition.
Makes sense to me. What we got on Old School?
Oh, well, we got the coaches preseason top 25. I guess we'll dip into Joe Klatt's top 25. We really want to dig into my man Sharon Moore and what's coming up for Michigan. And your boy Stallions is coming out there on Netflix pretty soon. So it's gonna be interesting.
There you go. That'll be Old School here in just a couple minutes with DP and Jay, brought to you by the Mercado. This has been On the Block, brought to you by Nebco. If you're looking to start a new career today, you can check them out at nebcoinc.com. Really appreciate their sponsorship of the show. Thanks to you guys for your involvement all show long on our starter Heyman text line at 402-464-5685. Keep those thoughts coming. We'll get to them during Old School as well. For Strick, for Jay, this is Austin. Don't go anywhere. Old School comes your way next year on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings